What's going on, everyone? Juicebags here, and welcome back to some Dungeon Defenders Awaken for my 2023 revisiting. And right now we are checking out the Apprentice. Now, as you're progressing through the game, I mentioned it before, and I'm not going to do a full rundown on it, but one of the most important things you can do is get your loot filter dialed in. I will put a link up in the cards to a video going through your loot filter. However, it is very, very important to have your rune filter squared away. Personally, I've had the fewest conflicts by separating everything into categories. So I've got armor on one, runes on one, accessories on one, pets on one, and then weapons on one. And each individual loot filter will stack on top of each other. So this is the way I've done it. Just a quick tip, if you are going through and trying to figure out your loot filter, do it in a map. Do it in a map in between waves with loot on the ground. Because then you're going to be able to open up your tac map and you're going to be able to see the loot on the ground. If you can see the item on your tac map, then that item is going to get looted by your auto loot filter. So if you can't see the item, then you know that there is a setting that is off. And you're going to want to go in and revisit your loot filter. Now, last run, we did pick up a little bit of gear. Let's see what we got here. That is a nice big 5 defense rate upgrade. We will use that bad boy. There is another upgrade. As we progress through, of course, the quality of the gear that we're going to be picking up is going to go up and up and up. So the further we get through, the better gear we are going to have. Now, additionally, we picked up 4 more points. Power, range, and rate are all right at around 25. We could actually make them all 25. Is that what we want to do? Probably not. I think I'd get more value out of going right into power. But let's do that for now, as we are picking up rate off the gear. And let's see, where did we leave off? We left off on Tornado Highlands. We're going to be jumping back through on this one. As with the Squire miniseries, this miniseries will be 5 episodes long, and it will end on Endless Spires. But let's jump on into the Tornado Highlands and give it a whirl here. Alright, so let's see, what do we start off with? We got 350 out of the gates. I think I'm going to throw a few walls down here. We'll just get kind of last resort type walls in, and then I'm probably going to be quite aggressive with the build on this one. Let's see, how do we want to do it? We can go back there. Here, I feel like it's probably in our best interest to go about right there. Now, what does that leave me? It leaves me 270. Not a ton left. So it's 120 for an LT. I could throw 2 LTs down. However, is that really in my best interest? I think for this one, we can get 3 flame bursts. So why don't we do that? Let's go 1 flame burst right there. We'll go 1 flame burst right there. And then, I guess we'll go 1 flame burst here. And then I will manually kill this lane and then what's left from anything up top. So let's see how it goes here. Could be a little sketchy. We only got 51 enemies for the first wave, of course, though. So shouldn't be anything too terrible. As always, we can take advantage of these cliffs. See if we can't knock some baddies over. Well, actually, it looks like we killed them before they went over the edge, but just get some shots in here, let our mana regen. We are going to have to put in a repair on this wall, I do believe. Our mana is starting to come back, just still not there yet. These guys are quite tanky for sure. Of course, as soon as we get a defense down, it's going to help that out quite a bit. I cleared the majority of the pack. Burn this one down, and I'm sure it's probably another orc somewhere. Alright, so let's see. What do we have now? We can go... Well, I mean, we can stay the flame burst route. Let's go with another flame burst right there. And we can start doing something to kill these enemies up a little bit closer too, maybe. Let's see, why don't we do this? Let's get a DST here. We'll put it over this way, as the Deadly Striker does shoot through the walls, of course. So we can angle it that direction, and we'll get some shots fired up front. We actually have 250 left, so we got a nice bit of mana left. Well, we go with a DST there as well, and then we'll put another... Do we want another Flame Burst down here? Yeah, why not? Let's get another Flame Burst down there, and let it fly here for this next wave. And you see we got an Ogre coming out on this one. So we are going to want to be conscious about that Ogre. We don't want that guy to get too uppity, that is for sure. I believe that those 2 Flame Bursts will handle this lane down here, unless we get any fire enemies, of course. We do want to watch for those Ogre Snotballs. They can be quite devastating. And then additionally, we can do a little tower boosting here. I mentioned before, Overcharge is also a tower boost, so it's a defense rate boost. If you go ahead and boost it up, let's avoid that Snotball. Yeah, it just blazes. It is actually, as far as damage output goes, it is the most productive tower boost in the entire game. So, playing the Apprentice as a tower booster is a very, very, very viable way to play Dungeon Defenders Awakened. That is just a certainty. Let's see, let's get another DST back here. Kind of feel like we haven't used any magic missiles yet, huh? Get a magic missile in just for fun. Actually, you know what? Let's go with 2. Why not? What's better than 1 magic missile? 2 magic missiles! So, let's get another magic missile down. Now, what do we want to do here? I mean, the bulk of the lane is right here, right? I mean, I feel like we could get another DST in here, and that is just going to annihilate that lane. But then also we have this area up here, where we could throw... I mean, definitely not a conventional way to build this map, but we could throw 2 DSTs up here. And remember, the DSTs shoot through walls. So with that in mind, we can kill these guys up front a little bit more over on this side. So let's see how it does here. Do they have enough range to get up here? I'm a little concerned now that no, they've got enough range. They're getting shots in. Oh yeah, that Ogre got wrecked by those DSTs. That's good stuff. That brings me along to another really, really important aspect of the game, and we will check that out here at the break. And that is tower target priorities. Lots of tower defense games out there have targeting priorities for your defenses. However, no Dungeon Defenders game does. Now, there are default target priorities. However, there's no way to see these other than learning from experience or looking like on a wiki. And then additionally, there's no way to change these. Now, Dungeon Defenders Awaken brought tower target priorities to the world of Dungeon Defenders, which is a feature that's been requested for many, many, many years. Now, as I mentioned, there is a default tower targeting priority for each defense out there. And then, additionally, you can switch things up to whatever you want. Now, for example, the DST. The DST is a super hard-hitting, yet slow-firing defense. It's essentially a single-target defense, although we do get a little bit of AoE capability out of that rune. The DST is a single-targeting defense. So, with that in mind, slow-firing, big damage, we want it to hit the heavier enemies. If it shoots at a goblin, it's going to one-tap it, and you're not going to get the full value of all of the damage that the DST can put out, as it's just going to overkill the enemy. So to take advantage of all the damage you're getting, you would want your DST to be hitting the healthiest enemies on the map. So any orcs that are in range, any ogres that are in range, you want your DST hitting these items. Additionally, like the Flame Burst Tower, the Flame Burst, of course, is AoE. So the Flame Burst, you can kind of choose what enemy you would like that to hit. And as you progress through the game, there's going to be a lot more enemies introduced and a lot more reason to pay attention to that tower targeting. However, if you go over to your spellbook and you go down to a tower like that Deadly Striker Tower, and then you look, the targeting priority is special enemies. Special enemies are the nightmare enemies in the game, which we actually don't have yet. Now, after special enemies, it's going to just, it's going to cycle through the special enemies, and then it would switch over to just the regular fodder type enemies. However, you've got special. You've got air enemies. If you're having a problem with air lanes, you can switch a tower over so it prioritizes air enemies and hits those first. You've got fodder enemies, which is all the goblins and everything else. And then you've got strong. Now, for the purposes of this one, I want my Deadly Striker hitting the strongest enemies. So we are going to change that over to strong targeting priority. Now, this is for all of the Deadly Strikes on the map now. It's my Deadly Striker towers in total, not in individual towers. So keep that in mind. You can't have multiples doing different things. You have to have all of that tower type all focused on that one priority. Let's see, we got 14 left. What do we want to do? I mean, I'd feel just absolutely wrong if I didn't get an LT in here in some fashion, right? Those are 70. Actually, let's just go ahead and slap 2 of those bad boys right here. And we'll upgrade them. That way we get a little bit better range into that lower lane. And let's let it fly here. Wave 4 rolling on out. Now, I'm going to go through Act 2 on the Apprentice, and we'll take advantage of the Apprentice's defenses and the Apprentice's DPS. Next up, we're going to be going with the Huntress or the Monk. Kind of up to you all. Let me know down in the comments below who you want to see next. Now remember, these heroes are more along the lines of support. The Huntress less so than the Monk. However, the Monk is one of the best support builders in the game. With things like adding in crowd control through slows or through confuses or enrages, I should say. Additionally, you can strip enemies. You can make enemies hit so they don't hit quite as hard. There's a lot of utility to be had with the Monk, so we're going to be mixing in other defenses with those while showcasing all of the Monk's glory. And one thing is for certain, we are definitely going to be adding in the EV as soon as we hit level 20. The EV is one of the strongest heroes in the entire game and has one of the most meta defenses in the entirety of the game, and that is the buff beam. Where in every situation, adding a buff beam just makes things better. So you're going to get more power out of everything you have there on the map. We'll get into that one as well, but we will start using those on every map as soon as we get to level 20, because level 20 is where it unlocks. Go ahead and slap a few more upgrades in here. I didn't get to see my LTs putting in work here. I'm about to start working on my LTs or Tesla towers in Dungeon Defenders 2 as well, as it is just a super cool defense. Of course, in Dungeon Defenders 1, they are quite glorious, no doubt. Let's see, we can get a little, oh, I popped it off a little bit too soon. I was going to say, I never use the mana bomb, but there's no harm in throwing a couple of mana bombs out here and there. I think we should just shred through the rest of this with the defenses we have available, but of course we'll get them upgraded. See if we can get a little better mana bomb off. There we go. Very nice. Very, very nice indeed. Get back to tower boosting over here, making sure all of these enemies get burned up. You see the little glow on the towers, that little kind of beams of light shooting off of it. That is the Apprentice's overcharge boost, so it's easy to see when it deactivates. That way you know when to boost again. And here we go, final wave. I'm almost feeling like I tower boost these and burn through this ogre. Let's check it out. Let's see if it'll work. As soon as the ogre comes out, we are going to start slapping down our tower booster. As soon as the ogre gets in range, I should say. We're going to get that overcharge boost to slam. See if we can't burn that ogre out super fast here. Of course, with low stats, these DSTs are not quite as glorious as I would like. And ogre down. So yeah, we were able to put the slap on the ogre very quickly. And how we doing over here? Looks like we are clearing out over here as well. We lost all our mana. As with every game, as you round out a build and you get further and further and closer through to the end game, there's going to be little luxuries or quality of life items that you add into your build. For example, for an overcharge booster, of course, you're never going to want to be out of mana. So you would want to have mana regen going that will allow you to keep that overcharge boost up for as long as possible. And then that gives you, you know, the non-stop boosting action. Of course, we are far from that point. So we've got to do things the hard way and hit all the buttons. See if we can get enough mana for another big mana bomb here. We are almost there. Almost there. We got a little fire. Yeah. No match for the Deadly Striker Tower. Oh, we got another ogre down here. Let's drop a mana bomb on him. And then let's boost it out. Oh, that ogre got just wrecked. So yeah, it doesn't take much power to cross over into the realm of tower defense. Where when you first start the game, like your very first few maps, it might feel a little bit more like an action RPG type game. Where you're going to be putting in the bulk of the damage or whatever out there. But the game is a strategic tower defense game at its core. So as you build your defenses out and become more and more comfortable with them, of course, you can turn this into full-blown tower defense if that's how you choose. Now, it's the reason I play the games. You know, I do love the loot grind and everything. However, I am a big fan of tower defense. So for me personally, I am all about it. I love the tower defense elements. No more mana left for the overcharge. Only 60 enemies left, though. We should just be able to blaze them up. Looks like there's quite a few coming down that lane. Those LTs are getting some shots in, though. Just about there. Didn't have to repair this wall at all. And this is, you know, in theory, this is the toughest lane. That is for sure. So anyway, that will do it for this episode. Thanks an absolute ton for watching. Next up, we will move it on along to the next map. But that will do it for today. So thank you all so much. And I will see you next time around. Take it easy.